First Bank Nigeria, the leading retail banking group, in furtherance of its commitment to SME growth in the country, organized the SME CONNECT conference with the theme SME at the heart of national development, creativity, capacity and capital. In his opening address, the Group Managing Director of First Bank Nigeria, Mr. Stephen Olabisi Onasanya, asserted that no country has made progress without considering the growth of small-medium enterprises.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this novel event as part of First Bank's Leadership and Thought series. Let me start by saying that there is no country in the world that has made progress in a positive direction without taking into consideration and putting enough resources to drive the growth of SMEs. In the Asian tiger countries that we all cite as successful models, it's interesting to know that most of the products and goods that we go in there to import into Nigeria are actually cottage industries or small-scale industries that go to drive and support the economy. Therefore, since 1960, we've been pushing as an organization, as part of our development dialogue, things that will drive output growth in the economy.
He further stated that as the oldest and #1 SME bank in the country, it was committed to creating the enabler for the growth and development of small businesses in the country. Highlights of the event were keynote speeches from the Lagos State government delivered by the Finance Commissioner, Mr. Ayodeji Gbeleyi.
It is with great pleasure that I am here for the launch of the maiden edition of the First Bank SME National Conference. I am particularly impressed by the good mix of speakers and participants on display at this conference. I know that the organizers have worked quite diligently in putting it together. It could not have come at a more auspicious time than now. This conference provides an excellent opportunity for a balanced, robust, and thought-provoking discussion on the theme, SMEs at the heart of national development, creativity, capacity, and capital. I am sure the dynamic discussions today will provide all of us with much food for thought. It has been observed, and rightly so, that in any country, the SME sector is the main driving force behind job creation, export earnings, poverty reduction, wealth creation, income redistribution, and reduction in income inequalities.
Inspiring presentations from leading entrepreneur and chairman, CEO of Sokoa Chair Center, Mrs. Ibukun Awosika.
This is a conversation, and a needed conversation. We're talking about a nation that God has given everything. We're talking about a country that has so many people to account for, so many people to take care of, and a country that is growing at 2 to 3% every year. A country that the global community, as at today, projects to the future that by about 2035, we will be the 5th largest country in the world, and closer to 2050, we will be the 3rd largest country in the world after China and India. As at today, we already have a body count that most countries can be scared of. Because if you take the chunk of Europe and you add the population of many countries in Europe, you will be getting close to the population of Nigeria. That shows us what we're already dealing with. Now, this can be our asset or it can be our liability. And it's how we handle what we have that determines where we go with it. Where we are now is a challenging space. A country that has so much, that has done so much, but that has so much to do.
Also, there was a goodwill message from the Minister of Trade, Industries and Investment, Mr. Shagaya, delivered by Mr. Monday Ewans, Acting Director in the Ministry.
7 billion naira to micro enterprises in the country, of which Lagos represents just over 20%. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my ministry is extremely committed to MSME development, and as such, we have transformed some key agencies under the ministry to refocus their attention on you, the MSMEs. For example, in June this year, SMECONNECT was only present in 13 states, with 80% of their headcount being in the headquarters in Abuja. I am pleased now to inform you that SMECONNECT is present in all the states of the Federation and has relocated 80% of our staff to the states. That is where the action is. This way, they are closer to the enterprises, to the people, and can administer the necessary support more efficiently and effectively. Similarly, the Corporate Affairs Commission has streamlined its registration processes to remove the need for middlemen, for instance, the lawyer charging fees, commission for small businesses to register their businesses. We have also launched the 24-hour registration process in 4 states, of which Lagos is included. Most importantly, the registration fee for MSMEs has recently been reduced by 50%, which should encourage more MSMEs to register and become formal. In the same way, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the ministry is also working on the issue of the national policy on micro, small, and medium enterprises. As at date, we have held 2 validation workshops for the reviewed national policy on MSMEs. One was done in July in Ibukun, Ogun State, and the second validation workshop was done in Lokoja, Kogi State, on 7th October 2013. Right now, we are collecting the views from inputs from stakeholders. Once we finish that, we'll pass it on to the Federal Executive Council for approval, and of course, once that is done, a brand new policy will be presented to Nigerians for implementation.
To give further insight on this event and how crucial the SME industry is to the country, were the GMD of First Bank of Nigeria, Mrs. Ibukun Awosika, and Mr. Slim Shagaya, CEO of Konga.
Okay, what I meant by that is, you see, for every major company or major sector, what you see is the end and final product. But if you look through the whole process of getting to that final product, or of what the big company needs in order to deliver on its product, there's a whole value chain. In some cases, you can have up to 50 different businesses, small, that are linked to that. Now, if a small and medium business latches itself onto one of those core sectors and identifies one of the areas that will support that business, it means as that industry grows, that small business will grow and become a big supplier to that sector. The other thing is, once you position yourself for a niche, even as competition grows in that industry, and like I use the brewery industry now, if you're supplying something that you've developed for Nigerian breweries, as Guinness, as SB Miller, as all the big companies come into Nigeria, you're already positioned in that place, because internationally now, there's hardly any company that controls all its own value chain. It's inefficient because it requires too much capital. It also means that you're boggled down with areas of production that is not your core competence.
I think e-commerce is going to have a very large effect here. There's no reason to believe that Nigeria will be different. So there are several things that you need to make e-commerce work really well. The first is a very energetic people, and we know we have that. The second is a very urban population, and today Nigeria is actually more urban than India. More than 50% of us live in cities, so that's great. And then the other is broadband penetration. So if you remember, a few years ago, if you wanted internet access in Lagos at your home, you'd be paying somewhere between 50 to 100,000 naira a month. That same connection today will cost you a few thousand naira a month. So that's happening also. So there's every reason to believe that e-commerce is going to become Well, I believe it's going to be a utility for Nigerians to buy and sell. In 10 years, we won't talk about e-commerce anymore than we talk about water coming out of a tap.
When we talk about issues related to job creation, work creation, poverty alleviation, and even food security, it's the MSMEs. The large enterprises cannot do that. It's the small businesses that can do it. And of course, an average small business person in Nigeria is innovative, is dogged, has a lot of strength to move on. What he needs is just a little support by government and other stakeholders in the economy. So they are the drivers of the economy for industrialization and so on and so forth. And then, of course, don't forget the fact that in a survey we did SMEDAN did with MBS in 2010, we discovered that there are about 17.2 million MSMEs in Nigeria, employing about 32 million people in Nigeria. And of course, we're saying if Nigeria must achieve the transformation agenda and the vision 2020, we must find a way of deliberately increasing these numbers, giving them capacity to be able to create more jobs, create more wealth, and be able to develop this economy. That's what we're saying. The MSMEs need to be supported very, very deliberately.
It's difficult to appreciate, but the fact is that First Bank is one bank that really does banking. And First Bank is one bank that also has the interest of Nigerians at heart. It's the number one SME bank because for 120 years we've been in the business of banking, and we do care for that particular segment of the market because we believe that it's the engine room of the economy. And so we take our time to listen to them. And one of the things we are doing today is to also find out what exactly the challenges are for them. And also to bring so many experts together, including some of the best entrepreneurs we have in Nigeria, to rub minds together in terms of what can we do to further improve the performances of this segment of the economy as a way of contributions to the expansion of the Nigerian economy.